Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Josh and you're watching our history. Today we're going over part 2 of the first Chimurenga or second Matabele War that took place from 1896 to 1897 in what is now Zimbabwe. It involved the British South African Company and the Matabele people, ultimately causing tension with the Shona people in southern Rhodesia. So if you enjoy this, please be sure to like, and if you're new here, consider smashing the subscribe button. If this isn't your first rodeo and you haven't shown some love to the subscribe, now is your opportunity. Thank you for watching. Assassination of Mlimo. Military intelligence believed that capturing the Mlimo, a powerful spiritual leader of the Matabele people, would be the quickest way to end the conflict. The location of Mlimo's cave was revealed to Native Commissioner Bonar Armstrong by an unnamed Zulu informant. Armstrong immediately shared this information with Chief of Scouts Burnham, who then presented it to the administrator of Southern Rhodesia. The administrator, Earl Grey, instructed them to inform General Carrington, the commander. Carrington in turn called in his Chief of Staff Baden-Powell. Carrington ordered Burnham, Armstrong and Baden-Powell to capture the Mlimo that very night, with the possibility of killing him if necessary. However, due to news of enemy movements, Baden-Powell had to change plans and go elsewhere, leaving Burnham and Armstrong to proceed on their own to the Matopos. Burnham and Armstrong embarked on a night journey through the Matobo hills to reach a sacred cave. Adjacent to the cave was a village consisting of approximately 100 huts inhabited by numerous warriors. The scouts secured their horses to a thicket and proceeded cautiously, crawling on their bellies and shielding their movements with branches. Once inside the cave, they patiently waited the arrival of Mlimo. As soon as Mlimo commenced his immunity dance, Burnham swiftly shot him below the heart, resulting in his demise. The two men jumped over Mlimo's lifeless body and swiftly headed towards their horses. The pursuing warriors, who had set up camp nearby, instantly armed themselves and initiated pursuit. To divert their attention, Burnham ignited the village, creating a distraction. The two men hurriedly returned to Bulawayo, chased by the pursuing warriors. After the assassination of Mlimo, Burnham and Armstrong were praised as heroes of the British Empire by the overseas press. However, in Rhodesia, some sections of the press expressed skepticism regarding the assassination. It was recognized that British military intelligence had made a mistake by considering the Mlimo and the high priest in the Matopos as the same person. British Army reports led Carrington to believe that the Mlimo held significant authority, with his orders swiftly spreading across the country. However, historian Terence Ranger suggests that Carrington may have overestimated the centralization of the Mlimo, and various reporters, including Baden-Powell, conflated multiple shrines in the Matopos into one. Frederick Selous, a prominent explorer and hunter, believed that the head priest of the Mlimo resided in the Matopos region. However, he also acknowledged that the presence of other priests, known as Mlimos, in different parts of the country who could convey the commands of the Almighty to the people. During the operation, Burnham, under the guidance of General Carrington, heavily relied on Armstrong and military intelligence for valuable information. Armstrong, an authority on the native people, their language, customs and mentality, actively participated in the operation. He held the rank of major in the Mangwe Field Force and was described as a young, shrewd and capable by Selous. Different sources differ regarding who was in command at the Mangwe Lager, with Selous and Harley mentioning Armstrong, while others name Van Rooyen and Lee. Some writers also describe Armstrong as a young and moody and claim that he too expressed doubts about the identity of the man killed, but only after the assassination. The company declined to review the matter, and Burnham left Rhodesia on the 11th of July 1896 to return to the United States. However, at Armstrong's insistence, a court of inquiry was later appointed to investigate the assassination. Unfortunately, the official report of this inquiry has been lost, but according to Harley, the judge's findings was that the native killed was the chief priest of the Mlimo. It is uncertain whether this was another occult personage associated with the Mlimo deception, as the death of the chief priest resulted in the end of the Mlimo deception. The identity and role of the man who was assassinated in June 1896, as well as the confusion surrounding it, remains a topic of debate. According to accounts, witnesses claim that the man named Gotani, who was shot by Burnham, was the Mlimo of the Matabele. Father Prestige, Captain Van Rooyen, Hansley and Armstrong met the hundreds of natives at Mangwe, where they made statements about the incident. Father Prestige's knowledge of the Mlimo and his authoritative information proved valuable during the subsequent inquiry. However, a report 3 years later, Chief Native Commissioner Taylor stated that Armstrong had coerced and bribed natives into giving false testimonies. In his report, Taylor includes an affidavit from Jonas, the head messenger at the ANC's office at Mangwe. Jonas admits to lying under oath and falsely identifying Jobane as the Mlimo. He also mentions never receiving any cattle from Mr. Armstrong, but being paid 5 shillings by him. Taylor's report further states that Jobane, the alleged Mlimo, was assassinated. However, it remains unclear if Jobane and Jobane are just different spellings for the same person. Historians have proved different names and roles for the man who was assassinated. In 1966, rangers suggested that the man was not from the Matopus, but rather a loyal priest of the Kalanga tribe called Umkombo. He referred to a report by missionary Joseph Cocken in 1879. However, in 1967, Ranger changed his view and stated that Jobani or Chobani was the high priest in the southwest and the main instigator of the rebellion. This claim was supported by affidavits obtained from the Indunas of the Mangwe area. These varying theories highlight the ongoing debates and complexity surrounding the identity and role of the assassinated man. In 1976, Lott claimed that Ranger relied on assessments of Richard Webner, an American scholar, suggesting that recent research supports the belief that Burnham, an American scout, killed the Rainmaker, or Iwosana, of the Makalanga tribe. Iwosana was believed to be a Hobani or Chobani, the fourth son of a Bankos family, according to the Sindebele culture. However, in 1994, Mary and Richard Bradford stated that if Burnham did shoot an innocent man, it was not planned but done under orders. The Bradfords also noted that if Jobani Iwosana was indeed innocent, his victimhood was a result of the white misconception of the Mlimo cult and the challenges of differentiating between friend and foe in irregular warfare. Historian Howard Henson suggests that the Matabele Rebellion came to an end with an assassination of an unidentified man in Matopus, possibly carried out by American scout Burnham. The death of Mlimo, the spiritual leader of the Matabele, further contributed to the end of the rebellion. Upon hearing this news, Cecil Rhodes approached the Matabele stronghold unarmed and successfully convinced the warriors to surrender. As a result, the Bulawayo Field Force disbanded on July 4, 1896. Meanwhile, a significant portion of the regular forces under Carrington's command were relocated to Mashonaland as the rainy season approached and peace was established in Matabele Land. War in Mashonaland. On the 17th of June 1896, a significant conflict erupted at Mazowe, marked by an assault on Alice Mine by the Huata dynasty. This incident was soon followed by the capture and execution of Mazowe Native Commissioner Pollard by the renowned medium Nehanda Nyakisekana. Joining the rebellion were prominent religious figures like Kaguvi Gumbere Shumba, who operated in the Goromonzi region, and Mukwati, a priest of the Mwari shrine. Mukwati's influence extended throughout Mashonaland. These figures played a crucial role in mobilizing support and organizing resistance against the oppressive colonial forces, Traditional leaders played a significant role in the rebellion against the colonial rule in Zimbabwe. Chief Mashaya Mombe, based in Mondoro, led the resistance movement in his chieftaincy. He was one of the first chiefs to rebel and remained defiant until the end. Chief Mashaya Mombe received support from surrounding districts like Chikomba. Other influential chiefs in the rebellion included Gwabayana, Makoni, Mapondera, Mangwende, and Seke. These traditional leaders mobilized their communities, provided guidance, and organized resistance activities against the colonial authorities. Their leadership and involvement were crucial in the fight for independence and the eventual defeat of the colonial forces in Zimbabwe. The company was able to gather reinforcements from the Cape Colony as the war in Matabele Land came to an end. General Carrington concentrated his forces in the Mashonaland region. The Matabele rebels retreated to the granite koppies located in the Matobo Hills. Since there was no central command opposing him, Carrington brought Maxim guns to each stronghold one by one, ultimately ending the resistance. Nehanda Nyakasikana and Kuguvi Gumbo Reshumba, key rebel leaders, were captured and executed in 1898. However, Mukwati, another rebel leader, was never captured and died in Mutoko. Legacy: the rebellion against the British South Africa Company's BSAC in Matabele Land and Mashonaland in the late 1800s ultimately failed and did not bring about any significant changes in BSAC policies. Despite the uprising, the hut tax, for instance, remained in effect. These territories were subsequently known as South Zambezia, and both the Matabele and Shona peoples came under the rule of the Rhodes administration. Only in 1924 did the entire region officially become a British Crown colony. Prior to that, the British South Africa Company, which had acquired the region through conquest from local chieftains and Lobegula, administered it. Regrettably, these historical facts were often overlooked in modern-day history education. Nevertheless, the legacy of the leaders like Kaguvi, Mapondera, and Nehanda continued to inspire future generations. Birthplace of Scouting. During his time in Matabele Land as the Chief of Staff to General Carrington, Baden-Powell formed a lifelong friendship with Frederick Russell Burnham, the American Chief of Scouts for the British. This friendship played a significant role in shaping Baden-Powell's ideas for the Boy Scouts. Burnham, who had extensive scouting experience in the United States, had come to Africa to scout for Cecil Rhodes. He gained fame in the First Matabele War for surviving the Shangani Patrol, an event similar to Custer's Last Stand. Baden-Powell admired Burnham's scouting abilities and incorporated many of these ideas and experiences into the Boy Scout movement. During their joint scouting patrols in the Matobo Hills, Frederick Russell Burnham introduced Robert Baden-Powell to the concept of woodcraft, a skill set commonly used by frontiersmen in the American Old West and indigenous peoples of the Americas. Burnham's knowledge and expertise inspired Baden-Powell and laid the foundation for the program and code of honor of scouting for the boys. Woodcraft, which encompassed exploration, tracking, fieldcraft, and self-reliance, was unfamiliar to the British, but recognized as valuable in adapting to the changing nature of wars in Africa. The teachings of Burnham and the incorporation of scoutcraft became fundamental to the development of scouting as we know it today. During his time in the Matobo Hills, Baden-Powell began wearing a campaign hat, similar to the one worn by Burnham. This hat became his signature attire. Additionally, it was in the Matobo Hills that Baden-Powell obtained a kudu horn, a traditional Matabele war instrument. He later utilized this horn every morning at Brownsea Island to awaken the first Boy Scouts and gather them for training courses. 1901 Matabele Rebellion. In 1901, Chief Kadungure Mapondera took a stand against the British Company rule. He initiated a rebellion in the regions of Guruve and Mount Darwin, both located in Mashonaland Central. Initially, his force consisted of less than 100 men, but their numbers rapidly grew, reaching over 600 by mid-1901. Despite his valiant efforts, Mapondera was eventually captured in 1903. Tragically, he died in jail the following year after engaging in a hunger strike. Monuments. In his will, Cecil Rhodes specified that he wanted to be buried in the Matopos Hills. After his death in 1902, his body was transported by train to Bulawayo, where his burial took place. This ceremony was attended by Ndebele chiefs who requested that the firing party refrain from discharging their rifles out of respect for the spirits. This event marked a unique occurrence as the Ndebele chiefs bestowed upon a European individual the Matabele Royal Salute, Bayete. It is worth noting that the Matabele chiefs had been employed as paid agents of the British South Africa Company administration since 1898. Rhodes is buried alongside the 34 company soldiers who lost their lives in the Shangani Patrol, and after his death in 1917, Jamison was also interred there. If you made it this far, I hope you're really enjoying this channel, and if you'd like to support the creation of more content like this, because all contributions are greatly appreciated, consider joining the channel in the membership tab or check out the Patreon link in the description below.